What do I like about springtime? Springtime is probably my favorite time of the year. It means summer's right around the corner. It means we get to get out in the mountains, start getting prepared for our summer trips. The llamas get all trained up and we get the winter wiggles out. And I am super excited to get going this summer. So join me guys as we talk in this video everything you need to know about our summer adventures. Yeah, springtime. I'm really excited about springtime. It's the time that, Earth is waking up, that we get our llamas out, we get ready for summer, and that's kind of my favorite time of the year. In this video, I want to really talk to people about everything they need to know about our llama adventures this summer.
What kind of trips do you offer?
We offer a lot of summer trips. The best time to come out is kind of the beginning of July. Through August is a really good time, and it's an overnight, imagine backpacking trip that you carry a day pack and llamas carry the rest. We also feature a wilderness adventure and camping skills trip. We also have our famous Alpine Traverse, which is actually a neat 5-day trip that we move from camp to camp over 5 days and see 12 different lakes. We also have a fly fishing camp that we'll feature this year where we'll hit several different lakes for summer adventures. So yeah, everybody basically hikes with a day pack and llamas carry everything else.
Okay, what kind of ages for people to go on these trips? Physical ability. Which trips are good for who?
We need to be physically fit. Most of our trips are going to range from 6 to 8 miles getting into a camp. So we need to be able to hike that far. I find that most families that come on start at about 10 years old is some of our trips that are shorter in distance. And then I've had folks in their mid-70s join us on one of our trips.
Do we get to hike with the llamas?
Yeah, so one really cool thing about these llama adventures that we have is that you have a trail companion with you. And so we get to hike with the llamas, but with the llamas, they're behind you. You're in charge of your llama. We go through all the safety precautions and the abilities, of each person. Having a trail companion out there is really neat. It allows people to kind of take care of this animal. It's funny to see people, how they interact with the animal. You hear people talking to them, and we give them treats, or pellets to supplement them. And so it's a really fun, environment for people.
What's it like to hike with a llama?
Hiking with the llama, it's kind of, I call it like llama therapy. We're out there in the wilderness and nature kind of is therapeutic to us. And with the llama, they have a padded toe, so they don't make a lot of noise. You build this bond with them. We ask, you can help out with us, on the trail or at camp. Because once we get to camp, we have to take all their gear off, and then we put them out on picket, and we got to take them water, and then we show them, new places for grass. So it's really an involved process that people can enjoy on the trail with us.
So what do we do once we get to camp?
We will set up our camp. So we'll work with you. If you've never put up a tent, totally fine. We can completely show it how to put up a backpacking tent. When we're at camp, usually that evening, when the first day, we'll have dinner, get camp set up, and then at camp and off days, depending on what the itinerary calls for, during the day we'll see other lakes that are in the area. There are opportunities to climb up onto ridge lines of mountains and kind of see the landscape and kind of just really soak in nature, and the wilderness. Fly fishing is a popular outing for folks. Looking at nature, we do wildlife identification, flower identification. So there's a lot of, on our wilderness camping retreat, we kind of show people the process at which we recreate responsibly. So we're going to look at how we manage our waste and how we build a fire. How do we get drinkable water? How do we, cook our food? If you've never been with this on, been backpacking before, this is a great opportunity for people to learn. And if you've experienced, then you just can let us do the job and you can relax and enjoy nature.
What kind of meals do you provide?
Yeah, so the meals is probably the one thing that we can control because of the llamas. We can pack coolers. I try to bring as fresh as food as possible. So breakfast burrito, we can do, fresh eggs, a sausage, vegetables. Sometimes we'll do deli sandwiches with nice choice meats and cheeses, veggies on the side. We'll have apples, oranges, and other snacks. And then we move into the evening. One of my favorite is fajita night. So we bring in good fajita meat, cook over the grill. We got all the side fixings for fajitas. Another one well liked is like our chicken pesto pasta night. So any of these wholesome foods and meals that we'll have each time. Now, if you do have any dietary preferences or allergies, please let us know and we can kind of accommodate.
What do you do about drinkable water?
In these days, we've got really good filters that we can use that allow us for drinkable water. So we'll use a running stream. We've got a filter that goes through this microfilter, and we'll pump water on the trail if we need. And when we get to camp, we have a big gravity filter. So we put a bunch of our stream water in the gravity filter, and it filters through. So we'll always have running water going for people that's drinkable.
All right, what about sleeping arrangements? Where do we sleep?
Yeah, so when we think about the overnight accommodations, right, where are we going to sleep? Imagine kind of like backpack style camping. So we're going to take our backpacking sleeping bags, our backpack tents, and sleeping pads. And we provide those if you need. If you have your own sleeping bag, we encourage you to bring that. If you need anything like a sleeping bag, a tent, a pad, we can provide those for you as well. All our sleeping bags are laundered after each use.
Do I need to be worried about bears?
Yeah, so one good question about in the wilds of Montana is what about bears? And so yeah, we do have bears and other predators. We have grizzly bears, we have black bears, we have wolves, we have coyotes, we have foxes, we have mountain lions. And most of those animals are not really concerned about us, our camp, or the llamas. Now, black bears and grizzly bears are a lot more curious animals, and so we do take precaution and safety with all of that. The likelihood of us running into bears is very limited and slim, but we do always want to take precautions, especially early in the morning or late at night. So we usually use the buddy system. And so if we're going to wander away from camp, we just kind of let people know. In adults, we always issue bear spray. Bear spray is an effective way to deter bears away if they come within close proximity of us. And we'll show you how to properly use, all bear spray and be safe with it. Yeah. So what we end up doing is we'll move into a core camp. That core camp is where we'll have all of our food, all of our toiletries, and then we'll actually sleep away from our core camp. So then our backpacking tents and our sleeping bags and our clothing will be, at least 100 feet from our core camp. That way, if a bear does come in to camp, they're going to mostly go towards, the food or scented items. So it's really important when we're in our tents over on the other side of camp to make sure that we don't have any snacks, no food, nothing in your tent. Not only for bears, but we also don't want squirrels trying to bite holes into our tents trying to get your food.
Great. Okay, do I need to be worried about bugs, mosquitoes? Or is there
Yeah, so one other concern some folks have is like bugs and mosquitoes. And it does happen, I think, coming out of where we are in the high country. And so our trailhead will start at about 6,600 feet, and most of our summer camps are going to be about the 9,000 foot elevation. So once we have the summer comes on, bugs and mosquitoes are more often earlier in the season. So July through the 1st of August can be have a lot more bugs, mosquitoes, biting flies like that. And take precaution. I like to bring bug spray. I like to use long sleeve, and I also recommend wearing head nets to just keep bugs and mosquitoes if they're kind of pesky around people's faces. So imagine taking a full brim hat and then putting a bug net over top of you. It just kind of keeps the bugs out of the face. So it's really good for people that are maybe sensitive to bugs and or kids too.
What is the weather going to be like that time of year?
Most often summer is pretty dry and hot, but there can be the occasional storms that come through. And I would expect a dry, high 70s, maybe mid 80s on some occasions. But one thing to consider too is like if you're not from the West, like the weather changes are very dramatic, right? So if a storm comes in, it could be sunny and 75, and then instantly a storm comes through and that temperature can drop 40 degrees. So we always want to be prepared in the backcountry. And so we've got a full gear list we'll provide to you. There will be hiking essentials that you'll need to carry on your person in your day pack. And then there will be another list of items that you can use at camp. Because each of the time, like in the mornings when we wake up, it could be 40 50 degrees, and that's cold to some people. So you'll see me, I'll wake up with full pants, I'll have, long sleeve jacket on, maybe a puffy jacket, maybe a hat, like a lightweight ski hat, just for those early mornings or in the evenings as we're sitting around a campfire. Once that sun starts to set, things get really cold.
Okay, then you're talking snow. What kind of clothing and footwear do I need?
Yeah, so clothing and footwear, we always recommend folks going with nylon or synthetic materials. Cotton is very common with most folks, but as we know, cotton kills. And what that means is that cotton absorbs moisture and does not dry out quickly. And so if we have this big change, if we're hot and we're sweating or we get wet, and then the temperature drops a little bit, that shirt that we're wearing is going to stay wet and cold. And a lot of times in the mountains and we're hiking in recreation, we want to manage our moisture and manage our heat. And so when it's cold out, we want to put more layers on, and when we start to warm up, we want to be able to take these layers off. And then we'll do durable hiking pants, we'll do long sleeve shirts or wicking shirts, I'll carry a vest, we'll have sun protection, we'll have sunglasses for eye protection, we'll provide you a hiking gear list of the equipment you'll need, your day hiking clothing, and then any other clothing that you won't need on the trail, we'll be able to put that on the Llama. Make sure we have a day pack. Day pack, we want to be able to have a water bladder, at least 2 liters with a hose. It's really nice because you can always stay hydrated as you hike. I like to carry an extra water bottle with me when I get to camp.
You said a day pack. What kind of
Yeah.
backpack? I mean, a big backpack, a small backpack?
Yeah, so on a day pack, I recommend a 25 to 31 liter backpack, so enough size that you will be able to carry the essentials. So you want to be able to carry your layers, your rain jacket, always carry a rain jacket, always carry a headlamp, always carry water with you. And then I also like to add some extra personal stuff of maybe some toilet paper and hand sanitizer. I'm going to have my snacks, I'm going to have my water with me, on that day hike. Anything else we need, camp items, comfy socks, water shoes, that will go on the Llama, and you don't need to carry that every day.
Okay. Where are these trips located?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we operate out of beautiful southwest Montana. The wilderness that we'll be going into is between Dillon and Butte. Local airports with international airports are in Butte, Montana, and Bozeman, Montana. From the trailhead to Butte is about 1 hour. From the trailhead to Bozeman is about 2.5 hours. And the trailhead to Helena is another popular destination for airport, is about 2.5 hours as well.
So say I book a trip, where and when do we meet? How do we do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So once you book a trip with us, we'll stay in communication with you. And then I usually like to meet folks the night before our trip departure. It's a nice meet and greet. We can meet with the llamas. We'll give you a gear bag. So this 31-liter gear bag by Black Thunder Gear will be all of the items that we don't need on the trail and we'll need in camp. So we'll provide you that gear bag. We'll meet and greet, go over some safety tips and anything else, and we'll make a rendezvous time the next morning. We try to be within 45 minutes of the trailhead the night before. And then the next morning, we usually meet folks at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'll kind of caravan together to the trailhead so nobody gets lost. Once we leave the interstate, it's about a 30-45 minute drive, we lose cell service. And so it'd be really hard to keep in touch with people. So one of our guides will escort everybody to the trailhead. Llamas and guides will be there ready to go. You'll bring your day pack with you. You'll bring your gear bag that we provide with you. And then once we get to the trailhead, we'll kind of direct you on where some of these items go, double check anything we have, and we'll also provide you a lunch for the trail.
What are your favorite airports? Which ones do you recommend?
Yeah, so in getting here, if you choose to drive, Bozeman's a great place to stop, and there's a lot of lodging facilities there, a lot of good eateries. It's a cool place to visit and look, a lot of sightseeing to be done there. But like Butte is a good destination if you're coming across I-90. If you're coming up from the south, Dillon is a nice spot to stay the night before. If you're flying in, Bozeman or Butte would be choice places for air travel. Yeah, so the question I get a lot of times on my trips is, do llamas spit? My go-to answer is always, if you deserve it. And what that means is the llamas, they have this communication with themselves, and the spitting is when they are upset about something. And it's a communication. Moms teach that to the babies. First off, there's 3 different types of spit. There's a blow of air. So it's like a, leave me alone, get out of my face. They will then spit something out of them, which it's grass and rumen. It's pretty foul, but as they're ruminants, and so they chew a cud, and so they eat, and that ruminates, and this acid comes up. So a lot of times, if you catch them, they're upset. They'll maybe spit a little bit at another llama, or if they're extremely upset, they really dig deep in their rumen to get this foul green coleslaw coming out of them. I never really get spit at unless we're maybe doing herd health. And I've got to do something that is very painful to them, or they're uncomfortable, and it's just a way of saying, hey, you're in my space, leave me alone.
So do they kick?
So they can. The safe zone on a llama is going to be kind of like the neck and the shoulders, kind of where a saddle might go. So that's their safe zone. When we start getting away from, their heart, their head, when we get to the backside, they kind of don't like it much. But sometimes they'll kick, and a lot of times it's not necessarily directed at you. It's just like, hey, I don't like that, leave me alone. But if I do get kicked, one unique thing about them is they have a padded toe, a split toe, 2 toes. It's padded like a dog, so it doesn't hurt like if you were to get kicked by a horse. They're just weird creatures. They're super fun, especially all the babies. It's just really nice to have them born at my place, and their maturity is not until 3 or 4 years old, so they can't carry full weights as male packers, and the breeding age is about 3 years old, so it's a slow process, but it's really fun to when they're born, and then we train them up, and then to actually hike with them on the trail. It's just, they're just super cool.